Hello, Elberic here with another New World video, this time covering off the Starstone Barrows. I'll be taking you through, giving you a little bit of a guide on the dungeon. I've been away for a little bit, but back now with the first of the two dungeons I'll hopefully get done this weekend. For Starstone Barrows, you're going to want the usual one tank, one healer at least, but you'll also want to make sure you have at least one ranged DPS. That's mainly for the final boss, because he will do a bit more damage to melee, up close and personal, and jump around quite a bit. So having a ranged DPS will make sure you have a bit more consistent damage. There are 4 big chests en route to the boss, with a couple of smaller ones. We'll be fast forwarding through all the trash mobs just to try and keep the length of this video down as much as possible. This run through took 34 minutes for us. This was the second time for most of us and first for one of our party. We are all at level 45, I believe, though, which is the recommended level at least. I was at level 49 and 3 of my party were at level 50 or higher. So here's the first door that you need to unlock with your Azov staff. And then we get to the first sort of major point we need to take note of in this dungeon is the lasers that are dotted around throughout the dungeon. Some of them are static like that one you just saw there, and some of them are moving like this one on the other side. Static ones you'll be able to climb under or crawl under or climb over, jump over. The moving ones you just want to stand in front of, understand the pattern that they're going to be using or moving to, wait for them to stop, and then walk under. There's our first chest and first respawn point. Okay, so a few more trash mobs. 2 iron veins on the right hand side here, and we're into a maze of lasers. So we'll be slowing down in a second just so I can show you the route through. So you jump over once that left hand side as you walk into this room. You've got 2 moving lasers, one varying speed and one static. The first one is varying, so as you see it slows down and then stops, so that's the pattern you want to look for. Wait for it to slow down, so that means it'll stop. Then we'll climb down here, jump over this gap, and climb back up underneath this laser. We'll then come around and walk along that sort of lowered section of the bridge. It's a little bit fiddly to get on, so you want to be careful, otherwise you will end up going down that chasm. Just follow it over, climb up and underneath these lasers. And you're back on the right hand side where those 2 iron veins were. And as you can see there, my party member's been hit by the laser and insta-killed. Don't res anybody that gets killed by a laser, because when you res them, they'll just get hit again and die again instantly. So just let them go back to the respawn point and catch up with you. So you want to jump over onto this central platform, jump over again onto the other side. There's 2 ways, you can go left hand side or the right hand side, either is fine. A couple of mobs to kill here. And then you'll be going up this ramp for the final jump of the maze. So jump over that final laser, and you get to this little sort of pool altar. One of your party can go into the pool, pick up a coated Azov staff that will create a barrier. As you see, it creates a path for people to catch up with as well when you reach this point. Once you've picked up the staff, that person will be able to create a barrier between lasers, allowing you to walk through, which allows you to come through this door over here. Now, it's not so important at this point who picks it up, but the second time you do this, or it's the third time, there's one point later on which I'll mention that you want to make sure your weakest DPS picks up the staff. As you see when he walks through there, he drops it and is able to go pick up the chest. But at a later point when you do this, you pick up one of these barrier staffs, you will need to fight some mobs at the same time. So you want to make sure your healer or tank don't pick up the staff, and probably best to have your weakest DPS pick it up. So, first sort of mini boss. Pretty easy to kill, and you'll see you pick up the enchanted bones. That's for the Archimedes quest. Some more mobs to kill. Another mini boss. Again, not particularly difficult. Through another locked door with the Azov staff. There's another chest at a respawn point. Now you've got another mini boss. Kind of. He isn't really, but does a bit more than the previous guys with the number of mobs he's got with him. Then you come up onto this bridge. You can only traverse the left-hand side of it as you're coming across. That right-hand side is blocked with lasers, but you will be coming back there. Kill these guys. Watch out if they head towards any lasers. Try and drag them away before killing them, just in case you accidentally dodge into the lasers. Through another door, spawn point, and some more mobs to kill. Carry on through the dungeon. This is probably the longest bit where you're just fighting trash mobs after trash mobs. And you get to a couple more mini bosses. These guys will drop a couple more bones for the Archimedes quest. And this is the barrier staff portion where you want to make sure a DPS, if not your weakest DPS, picks up the barrier staff. Because after they let you through these lasers over here, you'll have to fight some mobs and they won't be able to join the fight. These are just trash mobs, so not too much to worry about, but will make it harder than it needs to be if you allow your tank or healers to pick up the staff. So they block off that laser just ahead of the respawn point. When you come through, they'll be able to rejoin the fight. And you got here then Electus the Relentless. He'll constantly respawn mobs for you to kill, so just make sure they don't break off and try and overwhelm your healer. Small chest there for you to pick up. Deal with these mobs and then you've got another barrier staff section to get through. So again, have somebody pick up the Azov barrier staff. Let you through these lasers and through the ones on the opposite side. Kill these guys. You've got a chest to pick up there. Then get another barrier staff and come back through and up onto the bridge. Now you'll be able to go through that side that was blocked off before. When you do come through these lasers, you need to come over here to this little column and pick up a obelisk. which you'll then carry back. It'll turn off all the lasers, and you can come back over here to where you beat Electos, use this column, and it will bless the obelisk key. You now want to backtrack through this pathway that you came through before. You'll notice it's all populated with mobs again. So kill them off, make your way back. And you get back to this point, kill off these last few mobs, and you'll be able to use that blessed obelisk key to open this big door. That brings you to the final shrine and through to the final boss, Grendel the Regent. So once he reassembles his bits and bobs into his form, you'll be able to start the fight. So as I said, this guy can cause damage to melee even if you're behind him. So you notice here I'm stood behind him and gets caught by that swipe. He'll throw out those bones, which will spawn some mobs, so at least one of the DPS needs to go and make sure they don't overwhelm your healer. Try to avoid dragging the boss towards those lasers at the entrance and exit of this little area for the boss fight, especially later on when he starts jumping around, because he will knock you back, and if you're close to those you risk getting knocked into the lasers and dying. Now those bones that actually land, they don't seem to respawn any additional mobs once you've killed the ones that come with it, and they don't seem to have any effects on you or your party members when you're stood within the area of effect. So it might be something's bugged there and they're not doing the full impact of what they should be doing, but nothing at the moment to be too worried about. Just kill them off as quickly as possible, kill the mobs. Once you get the boss down to 0 health, he will respawn because the fight's not over. So this is phase 2 of the fight where he starts jumping around. When he lands, he will create a shockwave that knocks you back and will snare you. The very first one that you did, I was able to jump over, I thought. Maybe it was just distance because I was so far away. But it did make me think I would be able to jump over them, but that doesn't seem to be the case. You might be able to dodge through them, because later on in the fight I do dodge one and it doesn't snare me or do any damage, but again that might just been a bug. So again, spawn some mobs, make sure your healer's fine, nobody gets too overwhelmed. You notice one of my party has now died, he got pushed back into one of the lasers. See, there, I managed to dodge. Didn't snare me or do any damage, but I swear that I got that timing at least one other time throughout this fight, and I did get snared, so who knows if it's bugged or not, but it doesn't do too much damage, not too really anything to be too worried about. I think I said recommended level 45 at the earlier part of this video. It's not, it's 35 for this Starstone Barrows, sorry. So at this point in the fight, he will combine the jumping around phase with a mob spawn. So again, just make sure your heal is safe, which is a bit more difficult during this round of the mobs. Just get them down, protect your healer, and you should be fine. And then focus back on draining the boss health. So again, for melee, like I said, the reason that you want to have ranged DPS, you'll notice a lot of my attacks are missing. Range just allows you to have that consistent DPS on him. But just keep at it. And eventually he will go down. And that's the Starstone Barrows. Up those steps just at the top of the screen now is where you go to pick up the final chest. Make sure you get your loot from the actual boss. Head up and pick up the chest and you'll be able to exit the dungeon. And that is Starstone Barrows. I hope you found this useful. If you did, please subscribe, leave a like. But otherwise, have a great day and I'll speak to you soon.